Hello and good morning to all of you. I hope all of you are doing well and all of you are in good health. So in today's class, we'll be talking about different types of big data. Now, as we have learned in the previous classes that there are basically three categories of big data, namely structured, semi-structured and unstructured big data. So in today's class, we'll be trying to focus on the properties of these three categories of big data. Now, to begin with, let's try to understand what is structured big data. Now, structured data basically means data that can be processed, stored, and retrieved in a fixed format. It refers to highly organized information that can be readily and seamlessly stored and accessed from the database with the help of simple computational algorithms. Now, for an example, in case of an enterprise, or in case of a business enterprise, the information pertaining to the employees are stored in the employee table. Information like employee ID, employee name, employee address, employee salary, employee induction date, and so on and so forth. All of these attributes that are pertaining to employee are stored in a fixed format so that computational algorithms are capable of using it. Here, what we know is we know what would be the type of the data and what would be the form of the data. So it becomes very easy for data processing applications or database management system to work with the data. So this was the fundamental reliance of the traditional database management system. But since there is a complete paradigm shift in the way how the data is presented by the users of the system, so now what we do not have we do not have only text as data. We have signals being placed as data, videos, audio, images, web pages. So these are data that can be possibly mined and meaningful insight can be drawn from it. So that led to the evolution of the another format of data that is called as unstructured data. So unstructured data basically refers to data. So unstructured data basically refers to data that lacks certain specific format or form whatsoever. Now, so whenever we are talking about data that does not have any structure or a form, it implies it's very difficult to manage that kind of data because you see, first one is analysis and then the task of drawing meaningful inferences from whatever you've analyzed. So whenever the data is of diverse format, it becomes very difficult for one to analyze the data and then subsequently draw certain meaningful insight from it. That further implies it is very difficult to work with unstructured data, or it's very time consuming to work with unstructured data. Like email is an example of unstructured data, text, images, signals, videos. These are typical examples of unstructured data. Now let us try to understand what is semi-structured data. Now semi-structured data basically refers to data that has in it the characteristics of both structured and unstructured data. Right? To be precise, it basically refers to data that does not fall into either of these categories. It does not fall into either structured category or unstructured category, but data that has some meaningful information in it which can be drawn and certain inferences can be made from it. So that is what is called as semi-structured data. So these are the three categories of big data that you can possibly work with, or you may have to possibly work with. So you may have to work with unstructured data, you may have to work with structured data, and you may have to work with semi-structured data based on the way how the information flow takes place from the environment to the computational system. Now, let us try to identify or learn about some of the advantages of big data. Now, the first advantage of big data, as we all know, is big data enables predictive analysis. Now, big data enables computational algorithms to predict outcome accurately. So here we are becoming too much optimistic. It's not accurately, but it allows us to predict outcome that may yield certain profit or benefit. So big data analytical tools can help in predicting the outcome accurately. So whenever you are capable of predicting the outcome accurately or with a degree of preciseness, it not only ensures increased profit for your business from your business, but it also enables you to make quality decisions. Quality decisions that may lead to success of your product. So one of the biggest advantage of big data analysis is that it enables quality decisions, or it enables the analysts to make quality decisions. Now, it not only increases profit of the organization and enables one to make quality decision, but it also helps one in optimizing operational efficiency. So this is very much important. The overall operational cost can also be minimized, or efficiency can be improved with the help of big data analytics, right? And then subsequently, it also helps in reducing risk. So this is one of the biggest advantage of big data, that it helps in predictive analysis, where big data can be used by the computational algorithm to predict the outcome accurately, which will further lead to increased profit from the business that you're performing and enabling you to make quality decisions, as well as helping in optimizing operational efficiencies and reducing or containing the effect of the risk. Now, the next important factor is, or next important advantage is forecasting and formulation of quality decisions. Now, just see, you must have seen online e-marts like Amazon or Flipkart or Myntra, right? Or advertisements that are being placed in Facebook, Orkut, or Hi5, or any of the social media. What it's capable of basically doing, it's capable of basically enhancing the overall customer's experience, right, by providing better insight about the business that is going around in the world to the customer, right? So what these systems are not only capable of enabling customers or users in performing, is it not only enables customers to perform transaction, but it also enables customer to make quality decision, right, about the action that they are going to perform, right? So eventually it is going to lead to enhanced customers experience, subsequently leading to increased use of the software application as well. So now all of the online social media application or online e-mart has greater amount of effort being dedicated for mining opinion of the user and drawing meaningful conclusion that may lead to enhanced user's experience. Now, the next advantage is improvement in the guarantee on quality. Now, big data provides greater insight into customers' pain points and allows company to improve upon their product and services. Now, this is one of the biggest notable advantage of big data. So, over a period of time, and translating the actions that are being performed by the customer using the application into a representable data point, one can be capable of analyzing what are the pain points. Pain point basically means what are the hurdles that are being faced or obstacles that are being faced by the customer whenever the customer is using the application. So whenever you are capable of drawing inferences about the obstacles that are being faced by the customer while using the application, it enables companies to improve upon their product and services. So they will try to mitigate the problems that are being faced by the customer and improve the service. So this will definitely lead to increased use of the software system. So this is what is being worked upon by all of the software application. So if you see any of the online software application, what they do is they constantly monitor how users behave whenever they are using their application. So based on each and every transaction, each and every action that is performed by the customer using the software system, they tend to improve upon their product and services. Now, the next important aspect of big data is consensus. Consensus basically refers to the ability of drawing insight from data that is from different sources. So this is very much important. So whenever you want to enable someone to make quality decision, and the data are from multiple sources, so whenever you tend to analyze big data, what you tend to do is you tend to take data from multiple sources, and then you tend to analyze the data, and then you tend to enable the analyst to make quality decision based on whatever analysis you have done, right? So this is what is meant by consensus, taking into account the importance or the significance of data that are there from multiple sources. So in order to deliver accurate results, right, big data combines relevant data from multiple sources to produce highly actionable insights. So this is very much important. So it helps in not only deriving greater insight, but it also helps one to perform it with relatively smaller amount of time and smaller amount of effort. Now, next important factor, these are consequential factors. So increased profitability. So big data analysis could help companies generate more sale, naturally leading to increase in their revenue. So you must have seen, this is one of the important trick of trade that's being used by most of the shopping malls. So you must have observed, whenever you're going to a physical shopping mart, what they tend to do is they tend to place all the related items in close proximity. Say for an example, eggs are placed near to the bread, milk is placed near to the eggs and bread, right? Again, how they are capable of doing it, it's not that they have arbitrarily made certain decisions. They have made decisions based on the buying pattern of the users. So definitely a person who tends to buy bread there will be a chance of buying eggs, there will be a chance of buying milk, there will be a chance of buying butter and the related items that are there associated with breakfast. Okay, so that is the way how companies mind the opinion of people. Right. So, for example, shoes are placed near to shops. Right. So that is the way how business is being done. So, in order to increase the profitability of the organization, what they do is they tend to mind the behavior of the users of the software system or any physical mart, and then they make quality decision to increase profitability. So this is the way how big data is often being used. So if you see all the online shopping mart, right, okay, or all the social media applications, you'll see all the related items are placed together, or related items are highlighted, so that you perform the action in connection with the action that you are currently performing. So that is the way how organizations basically work, right? Okay, so that is what big data enables. Now, eventually, we can conclude that using big data and analyzing big data, what we can have is we can have a greater insight into the data, which will allow you to stay ahead of your competitors in terms of understanding the customer and increasing profitability, right? Okay, so here the ultimate objective of big data is to understand the behavior of the customer and to provide highly personalized experience to them. So these are some of the notable. So there might be several advantages of big data. right? Okay, but these are some of the notable advantages. So you have predictive analysis, you have forecasting and formulation of quality decisions, you have improvement in guarantee and quality, you have consensus, you have increased profitability. And with big data, what you can do is you can have an edge over your competitors, where you'll be trying to better understand your customer and give them a personalized experience. Now, who are the users of big data, or who is using big data in the current context? Now, you see, there are various domains in which big data is being used. First one is healthcare, second one is academics, third one is banking, fourth one is manufacturing, fifth one is IT industry, sixth one is retail, seventh one is transportation, right? Again, so we will briefly go through each of this. Now, in context to healthcare, what we are doing is we are using big data in order to perform predictive analysis, right? Again, so here big data, it will assist us in analyzing the patients, as well as making a quality prediction about it. So medical professionals are now able to provide personal healthcare services to individual patients. So this is one typical example of way how healthcare is being big data is being used in healthcare. So apart from that, like you see, we have fitness wearable devices, we have telemedicine, we have remote monitoring users and using sensor technology. So these are all powered by big data and AI. So it is basically capable of helping patients live a better life, right? In context to academics, so big data is also helping in enhancing education today. So education is no more limited to physical bounds of the classroom. So there are numerous online courses to learn from, where what we have is we have preference-based courses being designed by the various organizations based on the opinion of the people. So what they do is they perform a market analysis about what kind of courses are in trend, or what kind of courses are in demand, and then based on the requirement of the users, what they tend to do is they tend to build up courses and place it in an online store. Likewise, banking. So big data is used in banking in order to detect frauds, right? So you must have seen that very often we hear about fraudulent transactions being performed by different entities using the banking system. So banking system can use big data in order to assist the computational algorithms for fraud detection. So big data tools can be efficiently used for fraudulent detection of fraudulent actions in real time, so such as misuse of credit card and debit card, or your online account, and so on and so forth. Now, manufacturing, so it can also be used in manufacturing. So there are n number of possible avenues in which big data can be potentially used in manufacturing. Say, for example, one of the points where the big data analysis can be used in manufacturing is in improving the production itself. So first one is that you can use big data analysis in order to business in order to model the business, right? Second one is to improve the manufacturing process. Third one is to improve the supply chain strategy, right? Fourth one is to improve quality. So there are n number of possible avenues in which big data can be potentially used in manufacturing, right? Likewise, IT companies. So IT companies around the world now they are relying on big data for not only increasing their profitability, but for optimizing their functionality or their functioning. Because you see, optimization of operational efficiencies basically leads to increased profitability. It's not only the business that leads to increased profitability, but if you're capable of optimizing your business, definitely it will also help you in increasing profitability. And one of the key point or key aspect for which we use big data in case of major IT companies is for minimizing the risks in business operation. So here what we can do is we can combine big data technology with machine learning and artificial intelligence, and then enable one to efficiently identify risks, categorize risks, determine the damage causing potential of the risk, and then eventually design or develop an appropriate mechanism for or adapt to appropriate mechanisms for containing the influence of the risk. So just see, these are the very reasons why big data is used or has become a very big prospect in case of IT companies. So for improving the functionality of the organization, increasing the operational efficiencies, improving business, containing and managing risks. So these are some of the important avenues where big data can be used in IT company. Now, like retail, so you see this we have already discussed. Right. So in order to increase the profitability of the retail store, what retail store basically do is they basically try to analyze the data in order to enable themselves to make quality decisions. Right. So for example, before setting up a mart in a particular location, so they tend to learn about how is the demography of that particular location. Right. Again, what is the buying or purchasing capability or capacity of the demography of a particular location. What are the provisions, a type of provisions that are there? What are the items that are being bought? So by analyzing big data, you see, you can draw answers to all of these potential questions that can be useful in setting up a retail store in a particular organization, a particular location. So this is very much important, right? Okay, and once you have set up a retail store at a particular location, so how to improve customers experience, how to boost sales, how to increase revenue, or how to ensure that the products are properly delivered to the customer, or what kind of services can be potentially provided to the customer. Just see, these are all these questions can be answered. All of these questions can be answered if you properly analyze big data. So retail is one big avenue where big data is used in order to mine opinion about the customers. Now transportation. Now big data is used very often in context of transportation, and it has been since some time. It has been used for traffic planning, right, or for route planning, for controlling traffic, for managing road congestion and improving services. Additionally, transportation service even use big data for revenue management, drive technological innovations, right, enhance logistic, and of course to gain the upper hand in the market. So for an example, now what you have is you have companies like Tesla coming up with completely driverless cars, right? So what they operate on huge amount of data for making quality decisions while navigating the vehicle from source to destination. So big data is used in a very large way in context of transportation, for network planning, or for route planning, for managing traffic, for managing congestion, improved services. So now all of the major automobile giants have included this as an important feature into the vehicles they manufacture. Now, so in today's class, what we've learned about is we have learned about different types of big data. We have learned that there are basically three categories of big data, namely structured, unstructured, and semi-structured. So we have learned in brief about the properties of these three categories of big data. And then we moved on to various advantages of big data, where we've learned about predictive analysis, we've learned about forecasting and formulation of quality decision. We learned about how big data ensures improvement in guarantee and quality. And then we talked about consensus, increased profitability, and we have summed it up why big data insight is very much important whenever you are trying to improve your business or have an edge over your competitors. And then we have also identified the possible avenues where big data can be used. So we have identified healthcare, academics, banking, IT, manufacturing, retail, and transportation as some of the avenues. So there might be possibly a number of avenues where big data can be potentially used. So this brings us to the end of the introduction chapter to big data. So in this particular chapter, if we revise, so what we have learned about is we have learned about the significance of data. We have learned about the significance of big, and we have learned about significance of big data, and we have learned about significance of big data itself. And then we have taken a few standard expressions of big data, and we have learned about what is big data. Then we have learned about the key enablers that has led to the growth of big data. Then we've learned about the big data value chain. So followed by the various big data characteristics, the three important V's of big data, which are volume, velocity, and variety. And then we have moved into the differences between the big data and the traditional data sources. Subsequently, we've elaborated on the characteristics of big data, taking into consideration the 8 important V's, which are volume, value, veracity, visualization, variety, velocity, viscosity, and virality. And then after that, we have learned about how big data is capable of enabling one in increasing the benefits or increasing the profitability of the organization. Then we moved on to types of big data, where you have discussed structured, unstructured, and semi-structured big data. We have looked into some of the notable advantages of big data, and subsequently we have also found out some of the avenues where big data is of a very large prospect and is also being used. So this brings us to the end of the first introductory part to big data. So thank you very much. Have a very good day.